Class 12 Sociology Volume 2 Chapter 4 Change and Development in Rural Society Part 3. Hi guys, I welcome you to my Schooling YouTube channel. We are going to discuss about Chapter 4 Change and Development in Rural Society Part 3 of Volume 2. Those who have not seen Part 1 and Part 2, please check out by clicking the I button here. Transformation of rural society. Agricultural labor increased as agriculture is labor intensive. It was an extensive work and which involved on the price of the land. Payment changed from kind to cash. That is, people used to give the grown harvest to the labor. That changed from kind to cash because government wanted uniformity or one scale of wage, minimum wages. Agriculture is labor intensive. It is a well-known fact that the plantation farming method is completely labor intensive. It aims to increase the sales in this highly competitive market. Hence, it requires a huge labor force. Rural society in India. In this picture, you can see the labor intensively working for a farm. It was easier to keep track as the payment was in cash rather than in kind, as payment in kind would differ from person to person because the landlord might produce wheat or groundnuts or rice or whatever it is. If payment is made in kind, it would differ from person to person. It won't be same, one and the same. And also it is very easy if we give it in cash to track down. They moved from the hereditary relationship. The laborers used to work for a particular farm, heredity after heredity. The landlord used to indulge in work with the same laborers from the same family, heredity after heredity. Losing of traditional bonds, farmers could move from their village to any other village and pick up work. This is footloose laborers. They migrate from one place to the other in search of work. Maybe we don't find the laborers in the same area or in the same state or district. We call upon from other places. These are migrant laborers. The government also contributed by developing infrastructure like electricity, water, cooperative society, irrigation facilities, bank men, setting up of schools, hospitals, etc. So our government promoted free electricity for the farmers. Water was provided in abundance. Cooperative society was made for cheaper loans. Irrigation facilities were promoted and schools and hospitals were set up in the rural areas. This is how our government helps the farmers. We are going to discuss about the contribution of our government towards infrastructure for the farmers. There are many schemes promoted by our government, out of which we are going to discuss about Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. The aim is to form 10,000 clusters over the next 3 years and bring about 5 lakh acres of agricultural land under organic farming. Each farmer enrolling in the scheme will be provided Indian rupee of 20,000 per acre by our government spread over 3 years of time. Government contribution towards infrastructure. Apart from many schemes introduced by the government for the benefit of the farmers, these are remarkable: land reforms, tenancy reforms, regulation of higher rents, provision of credit to rural farmers. The other contributions by government are subsidies, example urea subsidy, food security, public distribution system, minimum support price and procurement pricing system. These are some of the infrastructural facilities offered by the government to the farmers. Kerala and Bihar. In the 1980s, the Kerala economy got linked with the UAE economy. There was a need for minimum manual labor devices who went from Kerala. They came back with a lot of wealth and their economy boomed. Keralites depended upon coconuts and fishing, but the new business ventures began adding to economy. Agricultural economy was linked to economies from industries. Kerala already had a booming fishing industry. This is a picture of Kerala with a lot of coconut trees, and fishing is also available here. Regions such as eastern UP and Bihar, where land reforms have not been effective, there has hardly been any noticeable change in the agrarian structure. Globalization, liberalization, and rural society. In late 1980s and 90s, globalization came to India. This led to competition among farmers. The organization in charge for rules and regulations was the World Trade Organization, which led rules regarding prices, wages, taxes, aspects of trading, reduction of barriers. Indian traders are facing competition from globalization. Fruits, vegetables, clothes, whole structure of rural area changed. A new concept was introduced in rural areas known as contract farming. Negative impact of globalization. Multinational corporations captured the Indian markets, making farmers dependent on the expensive, high-yield variety of seeds and fertilizers. Attraction of global market resulted in farmers shifting from traditional or mixed cropping to unsustainable cropping practices. Fruits and vegetables from multinational corporations, foreign countries pose a high threat for our Indian farmers. This is due to globalization. Contract farming. The multinational corporations go to different villages and tell the farmers about their requirements. Some products which are popular such as potatoes, tomatoes, flowers, etc. are being asked to produce by the Indian farmers. This picture clearly shows contract farming. The multinational corporations gave the Indian farmers seeds, fertilizers, and the know-how as to how they were to be used. These products were only produced for the multinational corporations, either sold, made into sauces, jams, or processed food. The farmer is assured of an income and a profit. It is very popular in some states like Punjab, where the soil is fertile. The product will not be bought by the MNC if the products are not up to the mark. Only if the product is up to the mark, it is good. It would be bought by the multinational corporations. There is insecurity among the farmers as there is total dependence on the multinational corporations. So it is wise and good for a farmer to produce and market by himself in the Indian markets. Disadvantages. Farmers are growing the items wanted by the multinational corporations, and if there is crop failure, the farmer has nothing to fall back on. There is insecurity among the farmers. We are moving away from production of grains by producing tomatoes and potatoes. Once potatoes, tomatoes, etc. are grown, the farmers cannot go back to produce grains. The knowledge that the traditional farmers have is of no use, as the know-how about growing crops is given by the multinational corporations. Ecologically, the soil gets eroded, not very feasible for all crops and all farmers, and people are switching to organic farming. Much more of the disadvantages are land availability constraints, social and cultural constraints, farmer discontent, extra contractual marketing, and input diversion. Advantages of contract farming. It reduces the risk of production, price, and marketing costs. Contract farming can open up new markets which would otherwise be unavailable to small farmers. It ensures higher production of better quality, financial support in cash or kind, and technical guidance to farmers. Largest states under contract farming. Contract farming is evolving as a mechanism of alternative marketing in the country. Punjab, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu have been the front runners in this regard. Multinational corporations as agents. Now, multinational corporations are providing seeds, fertilizers to the farmers. Seeds and fertilizers are expensive, but farmers have to buy them for contract farming. Though the profits are high, the insecurities are also high. In case there is a crop failure, they do not have the government to fall back upon. That is, the government would not support. The government cannot give loans at low interest as the multinational corporations take charge. Small and marginal farmers suicide. The reasons. The Green Revolution built small and marginal farmers wanted to increase productivity by increasing the use of advanced technology including tillers and tractors. Unfortunately, there may be a setback due to many reasons. When there is a crop failure or when they are unable to pay back the loans, the farmers have no other go. They attempt suicide. Factors responsible. Withdrawal of subsidies and support price by government from farmers. Now they have to borrow from other sources leading to debt traps like money lenders. When they are unable to pay the money at times, they commit suicide. Reasons which we can draw out are crop failure due to natural or manual failure, drought, heavy rain, pests, insecticides, etc. Totally dependent on the market. When there is a crop failure, they have nothing to fall back on security. This picture clearly indicates crop failure due to drought. Many of these small farmers are still dependent on monsoon. They wait for the showers. There is no possibility for them to have wells, big bore wells, etc. So they are dependent on the monsoon showers. So those times when there is going to be drought, crop failure occurs. Then they have to attempt suicide where there is no possibility for them to return the money back to the money lenders. Besides production costs, there are other expenditures to be incurred like education, dowry, medical care, etc. So this pressurizes the farmers. For these reasons,